When working on a project for a yard, field, or lawn, it's important to obtain valid area totals. To quickly and easily determine square footage, the distillation is go to bing.com/maps, enter a place of interest on the search bar, resize the area for your screen and right-click on a perimeter starting point of your choosing. Select Measure Distance. Click each successive perimeter point until you've outlined the entire plot, making sure the first point you started with is also the last point selected. On the left side of the window, in the Measure Distance and Area Information pane, select Done. That's the distillation. For more details, keep watching. We're going to review 4 methods for determining square footage and area: manual measurements, Google Maps, Bing Maps, and side solutions. Manual measurements, although a great method, is not the best based on the target that we've established of something that was quick and easy to implement. Something that you could just get in and get out and have the information needed very quickly. And manually measuring just doesn't do that. We also have Google Maps and Bing Maps, which are almost identical. However, I do believe that Bing Maps does some things much better than Google Maps. It just looks a little more refined and seems a tad easier to use, even though you're doing basically the same thing. But because of the little things that I've found to be different with it, I rank it a little bit higher. And then finally, there's Side Solutions, which I think is the ultimate solution of the 4 methods we're discussing today. This resource is going to quickly and easily provide everything you need if you have multiple areas that you need to calculate and visualize at one time. So the first method that we have that we're going to look at is manual measurements. Using manual measurements to determine square footage and area. Okay, so with this method, you're going to have the most precise measurements that you can get. The increased precision that you get from this over some of the other methods is unparalleled. You're just not going to be able to enjoy the same level of granularity with the other methods that you can with this. Also, you don't need many tools for this depending on the size of the area. Now, if you're doing something inside the house, of course, you can just use a tape measure or a ruler or whatever. Outside, you might be able to use those same tools depending on how much space you're trying to measure, but as soon as you start sizing up from a small yard to the larger areas of, say, a few acres or even a few miles, you're probably going to need more tooling. But if you have the proper tools, this is number 1. However, there are some downsides. You must have physical access to the area that you're measuring. Also, it is time intensive. It's going to take a little while, especially with the larger areas. You'll need to be walking around a little bit. Most things you can do by yourself, but you may need a buddy to help you if you need to speed things up. And you're going to be impacted by weather and conditions. If it's hot, cold, raining, windy, if it's too bright, if it's too dark, there's a hornet's nest, viper pit, flash flood. You get the point. All of these things and more can impact you obtaining measurements when using this method. And finally, if you're dealing with something that has some irregular shapes with it or some other complexity, that's going to really impact and impede you from being able to quickly get the measurements and be done with your work. You can still do it, but there's just going to be an inherent elevated time cost. For that reason, this is our first method, and it is a great method. But for our objective of something that's quick and easy to help you get some basic information so that you can buy and apply your grass seed, fertilizer, or insecticide and get to work, this is probably not the best solution for that. Using Google Maps to determine square footage and area. Google Maps is a standout. It's readily available online. If I'm not mistaken, it was one of the first mapping programs that was widely available that people really enjoyed using. And I think maybe it started off having more features than some of its competitors did when it debuted. It's easy to use, not a whole lot to it. It has an extensive worldwide location catalog. It's global. I mean, they've literally tried to map out the entire planet. The downsides would be it's limited to mapping one area at a time. And you can't combine areas that you've done and total them automatically. They have to be manually totaled up with a calculator, spreadsheet, back of a napkin, or some other method. But if you simply have a small area, a small yard that you're doing, and you just need something in the moment, Google Maps is an excellent tool for that. Let's take a look in the walkthrough. Go to google.com/maps, enter a place of interest. Once the map app comes up, for us, it's going to be the Kansas Governor's Mansion, Cedar Crest. And once it comes up, select the satellite view and drill down in the zoom inside of the app or in the browser, or a combination, to get it situated on the page like you want so you can map it out properly. Once you have a starting point defined for the area, right click and select measure distance. You'll see the information pane come up that shows how much distance has been captured. And then left click around the perimeter. If you make a mistake, like here, just click the dot that you just laid again and reselect the next dot. Go around the perimeter, making your way back to the starting point, making sure that the first point you started with is the last point selected. And at the bottom, you're going to see the totals. Using Bing Maps to determine square footage and area. Again, this method is similar to Google Maps. It's readily available online, it's simple to use, it has an extensive location catalog. It also has the same limitations, where you're going to be limited to only doing one area at a time, and you can't combine multiple captures automatically to give you numerical totals of the area and space that you're working with. Even so, I still believe that between Google Maps and Bing Maps, Bing is the superior product based on ease of use, the visually active ruler, and how refined the tooling is. It's just easier for me to navigate the screen and get my calculations with this product. Let's take a look in the walkthrough. Go to bing.com/maps and select a place of interest. For us, it's going to be the Kansas Governor's Mansion. And you want to select the aerial view and arrange it and zoom it so that you maximize the area that you want to map out, either with the app or the browser zoom, or a combination of both. Once you have a starting point defined for the area, right click and select measure distance. And once you do, you'll see in the information pane, it gives you statistics about the distance that you've covered. Left click the perimeter point in succession. As you go around, you may make a mistake. If you do, just hover over the point that you made a mistake with. It'll turn gray. Right click it and it'll disappear. And then you can continue on mapping the area out and make your way around the perimeter, making sure to finish with the point you started with, and click done and close shape. And the statistics for the area that you mapped will be in the information pane. Using SOD Solutions to determine square footage and area. SOD Solutions is readily available online. It has an extensive location database. It has drill down capability. You've heard all of these things before. And it provides all of these things because it's also using Google Maps as its back end. So everything that Google Maps is able to do, SOD Solutions is going to be able to do it as well. It is slightly more challenging to use, but it provides a lot more capability. Specifically, you have the ability to track multiple areas at the same time, and these multiple areas are automatically totaled up and distinct in their calculated values. So this is the most sophisticated solution of the four that we're reviewing today. Let's take a look in the walkthrough. Go to sodsolutions.com. At the top of the page, go to the For the Pros link. And then on the page that comes up after that, go to Launch Tool. In the search bar, our area of interest is going to be the Kansas Governor's Mansion. When that comes up, we want to arrange it using the zoom function to maximize the space for the area. Next, we're going to create the overlay. There are several tools we can use, but we're going to use the Create Overlay tool to map out individual sections. And we have 3 sections identified that we want to map out. And we do those by simply left clicking in succession each perimeter point. And as you can see, it automatically gives you a visual representation of the area that you're mapping. If for some reason you need to remove a pin, you can't click the pins like in other maps. You have to go to the delete last point button to do that. Once done, just simply create another overlay, and the previous overlay completes itself, it finishes, and now you start with your new mapping, and you do the exact same thing going around the perimeter point in succession until that area is mapped out. And once that one is done, we go to create overlay again to do our last section, mapping it out as well. Now these sections will remain distinct, and also we have the ability to see the total area covered in the information pane. As we finish this last one up, we have a couple of other things that we'd like to do. Let's give each one a meaningful name. So in the first overlay, we're going to go to the set name place here, and we're going to give it a friendly name, backyard, for this one. And we're also going to outline it in red by using the to from cutout button, and we're going to hide the pins. And for each of the other sections, we're going to do the exact same thing. Give it a friendly name. This one's front yard, outline it in red, hitting the cutout button, and hide the pins. And then finally, for the last section, we're going to finish off giving it a friendly name, to from cutout, hide pins. Now all of the sections are outlined in red, and the area totals are in the information pane for each individual section and also in total. To wrap up, Google Maps and manual measurements have a definite place in my tool bag. But of the 4 methods we discussed for quickly determining exterior and outdoor square footage, Bing Maps and Sod Solutions are the preferred choices for most jobs for me. But your choices may be different based on your preferences and the job requirements. Good luck on your next project, and thanks for watching.
Oh.